Pinkett was born Jada Pinkett on September 18, 1971 in Baltimore, Maryland, to mother Adrienne Banfield Jones and father Robsaw Pinkett Jr. Jada is of Jamaican and Bajan descent on her mother's side and African American descent on her father's side. Adrienne and Robsaw were teenage parents, with Adrienne becoming pregnant with Jada while in high school. After graduating high school, Adrienne settled into life as a young mother and married Robsaw. Living in the Baltimore area was not easy, but the young couple did what most were doing at that time, and that was survive. Robsaw ran a construction company, and Adrienne was a head nurse at one of the inner city health clinics. Robsaw and Adrienne's marriage was not an easy one because Robsaw was an alcoholic and Adrienne had an addiction of her own, having become addicted to heroin shortly after giving birth to Jada. Robsaw was a violent drunk and was physically abusive to Adrienne. Flying into fits of rage, he would beat her, leaving scars and bruises on her body that were visible to all, including Jada. Adrienne had become accustomed to Robsaw's drunken fits of rage, even one time suffering injuries after being thrown over a banister, leaving a huge scar on her back. But life would not go on like this. An event that finally pushed Adrienne over the edge ended their relationship, and the couple divorced. On this night, Robsaw had been drinking as usual and began beating Adrienne. He beat her so bad that he gave her a black eye. Adrienne then ran across the street to a neighbor's house to call for help, and when the police arrived, Adrienne left for good. She fled to her mother, Marion Banfield's home, who was a social worker, and from that point on, the two of them shared in the task of raising young Jada. Now, Jada's grandmother, Marion, was a doer in the community who wanted to add beauty to the world. She was part of the Baltimore Ethical Society, a congregation that supports all religious and spiritual beliefs, and it was also the first racially integrated congregation in Baltimore. Having been more of a strict parent when she raised Adrienne, telling her that boys were dirty, Marion was not that way with Jada. When Jada was 9, her grandmother taught her about self-pleasure. She wanted Jada to know that pleasure would come from herself and did not want her to fall into the hands of a man and believe that the man was the only one that could give her pleasure. She didn't want her to feel like she couldn't please herself, so she taught her about self-pleasure. Marion noticed that her granddaughter Jada was a creative and had a passion for the performing arts, so she enrolled her in piano, tap, dance, and ballet lessons. Her love of the arts led her to attend Baltimore School for the Arts, where she majored in dance and theater. Although Jada's grandmother did the best she could to serve as an escape for Jada, Jada's home life was dysfunctional to say the least. Even though Jada's mother had left her abusive alcoholic father, she still struggled with drug addiction and had moved on to her second husband, Warren A. Brown. Now, by day, Warren was a successful and prominent attorney who was on the rise and respected by his peers and the community. But by night and at home, his time was spent with Adrienne getting high. Now, although the pair dabbled in drugs, they were what some would call highly functional addicts, keeping jobs and maintaining a home. But there were times where Adrienne would forget to pick Jada up from school, or when she did pick her up, she would be so high that she would nod off in front of Jada, which led Jada to become aware that something was not quite right with her mother. But just as Adrienne was dealing in the life of drugs, so was Jada. While in high school, Jada had begun selling drugs and meeting new friends. One of those new friends was a young boy by the name of Tupac Shakur. Like Jada, Tupac had a flair for theater and was an avid reader and poet. The two friends shared a connection and a bond immediately and were inseparable. Tupac often shared his adoration for Jada in poems. But Jada and Tupac's relationship was also about survival. Growing up in the inner city of Baltimore was rough, and the pair fell victim to the life of dealing drugs. They held each other down through these times. Survival was key, making it day by day dependent on having someone to watch your back, and the two of them were that for each other. As Jada dived more into the street life, she would often have to cheat off of her friends' tests and papers so that she could pass her own classes. Selling drugs at such a young age was dangerous, especially for a young girl, and it was one event that would change Jada's life forever. Two men that knew Jada was dealing drugs robbed her at gunpoint, putting guns to her face and robbing her of her drugs. This event shook Jada, and this led her to getting out of the life. But sadly, as she was exiting the life of selling drugs, Tupac was getting in deeper, which affected the friends' relationship. Jada eventually graduated from high school to the surprise of her family and herself. She'd been missing school and not doing well in her academic studies, so graduating was a gift to Jada. Her mother was determined for Jada to make something of herself, making her go to college. Jada accepted a scholarship and attended the North Carolina School of the Arts. While in college, Jada continued to study dance and theater and enjoyed being in a new environment. And just like any other young woman away at college, Jada attended her classes during the week and partied on the weekends. She didn't really have a desire for education, so she partied. Now, she often found herself in situations at these parties where she would drink too much and end up in uncomfortable situations. She was taken advantage of, she said many times, and in these situations, she did not really vocalize in the way that she should, leading her to go further with young men than maybe she would really have wanted to if she had been sober. Not fully understanding these dynamics, she would feel that it was too late to say stop or no once it had gone too far. Now, after about a year of this, of attending North Carolina School of the Arts, Jada left to pursue her career in acting. Jada began her acting career in 1990 when she starred in an episode of True Colors. In 1991, she received guest roles in television shows such as Doogie Howser MD, 21 Jump Street, and A Different World, where she played college freshman Lena James. In 1993, Jada appeared in her first film, Menace to Society. She was cast as Ronnie, a single mother. Now, this was due to a recommendation from her friend Tupac Shakur, who was set to appear in the film before he was fired. Jada considered dropping out of the film after Tupac's departure, but he convinced her to keep the role. In 1994, Jada acted with Keenen Ivory Wayans in the action and comedy film A Low Down Dirty Shame, where she played Peaches. Her acting garnered positive reviews. The New York Times even wrote, "Miss Pinkett, whose performance is as sassy and sizzling as a salt and pepper recording, walks away with the movie."
There's the door. Leave. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, then get the fuck out. Need this shit. Huh. I just tell him that she left. Shame she's gone. She's grown. She went to go get something to eat.
In 1994, she also starred in Jason's Lyric, opposite Alan Payne.
You always this difficult?
Can't you find somebody else to harass?
Harass? I thought I was being charming.
Wrong.
Come on, let me get you right.
Look, I don't know you, okay? For all I know, you a gangster, and I don't ride with no gangsters.
Yo, I ain't no gangster. I got a job. You know what I'm saying? No drugs, no guns. I sell TVs all day long. Sold you ones, matter of fact. I wear this corny uniform, eat fried chicken almost every day because my mama work in Frenchies. I have nightmares that I'm gonna grow wings and cluck like a chicken.
That year, she also had a role in the romantic comedy The Inkwell. Now, in 1995, Jada then played a convict on work release in the horror film Demon Knight. According to Lorenz Tate, Jada was set to appear in the film Dead Presidents, but she turned down the role of Delilah due to her loyalty to Tupac. You see, the Hughes brothers directed Dead Presidents, and they had been the ones to fire Tupac from Menace to Society. In 1996, Jada starred with actor and comedian Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor. The film was a commercial success, earning $25 million in its first weekend in the U.S. and eventually $274 million worldwide.
Oh, baby, eat some bread.
So, Miss Purdy, are you and Sherman having relations?
That's a good question. No, Grandma, it's not like that. We're colleagues. We just work together.
Oh, yeah, that's how I start out, colleagues. Me and your grandfather was colleagues. Next thing you know, he's on top of me in the shed, pumping and sweating.
Hey, Mo, it's not like that. Sherman, when you hush up, you never brought a girl home. The least you can do is let us talk to her. Yeah, I'd like to get to know her a little better myself.
Ain't nothing wrong with having relations. Don't be ashamed of that. Relations is beautiful. When I was young, I used to always have relations. Every night, if a nice gentleman bring me flowers and candy, take me to a movie, show me a lovely evening, then I would take him home and give him hot, lovely relations. Relations is a beautiful thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of, especially to young people. I think
That's
it's
your
beautiful.
whole Edna.
You know, sometimes when I'm alone, I relate to myself.
I can relate.
Oh, Mama.
I don't want to hear this shit while I'm eating.
Please, stop talking to me. So, Carla, do you like children?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. I can't wait for Sherman to bring me home some grandbabies.
Yeah, I know you're gonna enjoy making them babies. Got them childbearing hips. Baby pop right out. Your family got any money? I ain't paying for no big-ass wedding.
Oh, Carla, I know a wonderful minister. What religious background are you?
Yeah, you know, I still got my wedding dress. If you want it, I'll take it in and let you wear. You look so lovely, and it's white, though. Can you wear a white wedding dress, young lady? Now, Sherman, you can wear a white tuxedo. Did you know Sherman's never had relations?
Mama, you gonna embarrass my baby.
Don't we got a strong back?
Look at my
When
baby,
you
blood,
get
she
all
lost
that
her
man and
nose.
release all that's been built up for 35 years, just wanting and wanting and wanting, whoo, might make your head blow off.
Pop, go to Weezer.
I got my own self hot telling that story.
Pop, go to Weezer, cause the Weezer say, Pop! Yeah, Carla, you and Sherman gonna get married here in Chicago.
Carla, do you cook? Because somebody's got to feed my Sherman.
Yeah, I know a wonderful church down there on Main Street, but they won't marry you if you're a lesbian. Not that I have anything against lesbians. I love lesbians.
Lesbians is cool.
Hey, it's true. There's nothing wrong with little bingo, little cunnilingus. Ain't never hurt nobody.
Well, why is it the woman always get the choice where it's gonna be married?
Well, that's tradition.
Well, tradition my ass. Look, I ain't gonna pay for everybody to fly out to no Chicago. You know how much plane tickets cost?
Aye,
If we
old
won't
cheap
go to Chicago, then we gonna have to drive down there.
I'm not down
What
over
do
to
you mean
Chicago.
you ain't gonna drive Chicago? Yeah, but then you gonna be walking around the bike, cause I ain't paying all money. The wedding gonna be here.
My baby's not getting married. My baby is not getting married.
Oh, yeah?
There you go again, popping off gas in front of this lovely young
You
lady.
trying to have a meal, you want to sit
Shame
there and
on
break all this
you.
gas.
I hope your ass turn into a
Hold
frog.
the gas up in my ass.
Don't nobody want to hear your flatulence, please, clump. You are such a disgrace.
I stopped holding my gas a long time ago. You know that.
You gonna spoil the dinner to everybody.
Hey, one more word.
That same year, Jada also had a lead role in the movie Set It Off, a crime drama about 4 women who robbed banks to escape from poverty. The film was budgeted at $9 million, but Set It Off made $41 million globally.
Come on, Frankie! Get down! What happened? What happened to her? Drive this motherfucker. She gonna be all right. Frankie, listen to me. I need you to drive this car really fast and get us to the hospital, okay? Go! This motherfucker's not gonna make it. We gotta switch cars. All right, what you do, what you gotta do. Listen to me. You listen to me, okay? You are gonna make it through this. You understand me? Okay. All right? It doesn't hurt. We've been through a lot together, haven't we? You okay? I'm okay. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear you okay. I'm okay. Yes, I know you okay. Okay. Just hold on for me, baby, okay? Come on, Frankie, man. Drive this car. You better tell them to hurry up. Okay. Come on, you guys. Keith, he's gonna be mad at you. You don't worry about Keith, okay? You worry about that tattoo and you're gonna get over that hole. Okay. Okay. You know what I could use right now? I could use a banana flambe. Remember those banana flambés we had that time at that restaurant? They were so good. Remember? Oh, Stoney, we gotta start it! Come on! Let's get her! Come on! Come on!
In 1997, Jada had a cameo role in Scream 2 as a college student who is brutally murdered in front of hundreds of filmgoers. The film made more than $100 million at the U.S. box office. In 1998, she played a news reporter in the thriller Return to Paradise with Joaquin Phoenix and Vince Vaughn, and took on the title role of an extroverted woman alongside Tommy Davidson in the comedy Woo.
You wanna dance?
It's too late now.
You don't wanna dance?
Boop! Leave a message.
In the year 2000, she next starred in Spike Lee's film Bamboozled, playing a personal assistant to the main character played by Damon Wayans. Now, although the film was met with mediocre reviews, it won the National Board of Review's Freedom of Expression Award. In 2001, Jada portrayed a loudmouth wife in the moderately successful comedy Kingdom Come, which starred LL Cool J, Vivica Fox, Anthony Anderson, Toni Braxton, and Whoopi Goldberg. In the movie Ali, Jada played Sanjay Roy, the first wife of boxer Muhammad Ali, opposite Will Smith. Now, while she loved the final product, she initially did not think she was the right fit for the role. She said, "I felt like because we were a couple off screen, for people to see us together on the screen in a movie like this would take people out of the movie, that people would see Will and Jada there. They wouldn't see Ali and Sanjay." Now, perhaps her best known role to date is the part of human rebel Niobe in the films The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. These are sequels to the Matrix movie. And the related video game, Enter the Matrix. The character was actually written with Jada in mind. Directly after she filmed her scenes for Ali, Jada flew to Australia to work on the Matrix sequels. Now, the sequels earned over $91 million and $48 million during their opening weekends in the U.S. In 2004, Jada starred in the movie Collateral alongside Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. Jada played a U.S. Justice Department prosecutor and the target of a contract killer. The film was a critical and commercial success, grossing $217 million worldwide.
But not today.
No, I do. Like, I can't wait. I love standing in that courtroom. At the same time, I get this clenched up thing the night before the first days.
Clenched up? How?
I think I'm gonna lose. I think the case sucks. My exhibits aren't in order. I'm not prepared enough. People are gonna find out that I don't know what I'm doing and I've been running some charade all these years. I represent the Department of Justice, and my opening statement is gonna fall flat at the most important point, and the jury's gonna laugh at me. And then I cry. I don't throw up. A lot of people throw up. I have a strong stomach. And then I pull myself together. I rewrite my opening statement, work my exhibits, and that's what I do for the rest of the night. That's my routine. In the morning it starts, and I'm fine.
You need a vacation.
I just had a vacation on the Harbor Freeway.
No, not in the cab. I mean, you need to get your head straight, get your unified self up, get harmonic, you know.
When was the last time you took a break?
I go on a vacation all the time.
How often?
12 times a day. My favorite spot. Maldives Island. It's my own private getaway. Things get heavy for me, I take 5 minutes out, and I just go there. And I just concentrate on absolutely nothing. Here. Take it.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that.
Take it because you need it a lot more than I do. And it'll help you, I guarantee you.
Thanks, Max.
Go get him.
She then voiced Gloria, a strong, confident, but sweet hippopotamus in the computer animated film Madagascar. Despite a mixed response from critics, The film was a commercial success, earning $532 million worldwide and becoming one of the biggest hits of 2005. In 2007, she played the wife of an affluent dentist in the drama Reign Over Me with Adam Sandler, Don Cheadle, Liv Tyler, and Donald Sutherland. In 2008, Jada took on the role of a lesbian author in the all-female comedy The Women, opposite Meg Ryan, Annette Bening, Deborah Messing, and Eva Mendes. In 2008, her directorial debut was with the drama The Human Contract, where she also wrote and starred as the sister of a successful but unhappy businessman with Paz Vega and Idris Elba. It debuted at the Cannes Film Festival in May of 2008. The success of Madagascar led Jada to return to the role of Gloria in the 2008 sequel, Madagascar Escape to Africa, which earned $603 million at the international box office. Jada was an executive producer and starred as a chief nursing officer in the TNT medical drama Hawthorne, which premiered on June 16th of 2009, but Hawthorne ended on August 16th, 2011, after only 3 seasons. In 2010, she earned a nomination for a Tony Award for Best Musical as a producer for the Broadway musical Fela. She voiced the role of Gloria again in Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, in 2012, which made over $746 million. She also voiced Gloria in the NBC Christmas special, Merry Madagascar, in 2009, and the direct-to-DVD film, Madly Madagascar, in 2013. Beginning in 2014, Jada starred in the first season of the Fox crime drama Gotham as Gotham City gangster Fish Mooney. In 2015, she starred in the comedy Magic Mike XXL as the manager of a star stripper club. The film made $122 million worldwide. In 2016, she starred in the comedy Bad Moms. The film earned more than $184 million. Jada next took on the role of a nurse and uptight mom in the comedy Girls Trip in 2017 alongside Regina Hall, Queen Latifah, and Tiffany Haddish. The film was chosen by Time magazine as one of its top 10 films of 2017 and grossed $140 million worldwide. Beginning in May of 2018, Jada created and hosted the Facebook Watch talk show Red Table Talk, which features her mom, Adrienne Banfield-Jones, and her daughter, Willow Smith. The show focuses on a wide range of topics. The show has been at the center of controversy since its inception. Jada is married to actor Will Smith, and the pair share children, Jaden and Willow Smith. Now that's the Wikipedia version. Now let's get to the tea, what we all came here for. Jada Pinkett moved to Hollywood in the early 90s and was determined to make it as an actress. As soon as she arrived, she hit the ground running and immediately began seeking to form relationships with those in the business. Jada had an outspoken personality and never was at a loss for words. Check out this clip.
Telling him that before I met him today, I would have thought that he was a woman hater because of his music that he writes, you know, and that he, owning his own record company, can make a change starting from there within his community to uplift us. Yes. You know what I'm saying? When I listen to his music, I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel good about my people. And I said, Eric, you have the power to do that.
But you know what, Eric, are you going to, let's let Eric address this. Eric, are you going to do that? Will this change? Has this changed the way you think about the music and about the way you write?
Yes.
In what way?
To a certain point.
You got now a young sister here in your face.
In your face.
In your face. Who is saying, I want to see a change. I want to know really what you can do about it.
Say nice things about
I do say nice things about sisters.
to me. But you gotta say it on the record where me being a young sister, I told Eric, I said, I cannot listen to your music and feel good about myself. Now come on.
Now, y'all, of course, it has been speculated whether or not Eazy-E and Jada ever dated. And apparently, Tupac was not the only one that Jada still has a little memo and note from. Back in 2018, remembering Eazy-E on his birthday, Jada posted a note to her social media that Eazy-E once left on her car. She said, "This is a note Eazy-E left on my car after I forgot we were supposed to meet up about my poetry book he was pushing me to publish, with the CD inserted of me reciting them. Happy birthday, Eazy-E. You were one of a kind and a great friend. Thank you." Now, y'all thoughts, do you think that Jada and Eazy-E ever dated? Sound off in the comments below. Now, everyone knows the saying that it's not how many people you know, but it is who you know. Well, upon arriving to Los Angeles, Jada stayed with a friend by the name of Laverne Witt, who was a stunt woman. Now, with this type of career, Laverne already had connections within the industry, and one of those being Keenen Ivory Wayans. Now, after meeting Keenen, Jada inquired about the choreographer position for Keenan's TV series In Living Color, but the job was already taken by Rosie Perez. So Laverne then helped Jada find an acting agent to continue to introduce Jada to many of her celebrity friends. So it was only natural that Jada auditioned for the popular TV show at that time, which was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in '94. Now, at that time, Jada was 19 years old. She auditioned to play the role of Will's girlfriend, but was told that she was too short. She was 5 foot and Will was 6'2". Now, we all know that the girlfriend role went to Nia Long, and she played the hell out of that role with that short haircut. Now, even though Jada did not get the role to play Will's girlfriend, the two of them began a real-life relationship outside. Now, at the time, however, Will was married to Cherie Zampino, and after Jada had auditioned for The Fresh Prince and did not make it, she went on to star in A Different World, playing the role of Lena James, which has actually become known as her breakout role, and we love Lil Lena James. Now, in '92, she had an interview with a local media outlet in Baltimore, where she sat down in the gymnasium of the Baltimore School of the Arts, where she graduated from, and remembered how it all began. Now, just getting the Different World role, she told that interviewer that day that everybody wants to be a part of what I'm doing, but tomorrow, when A Different World is gone, I'll be gone. I can understand why a lot of people in my business get high on drugs. I get such a high performance. Now, that's a shock to me, considering that Jada has said when she was on the set of The Nutty Professor, she was high off ecstasy, even passing out after having taken a bad batch. So, girl, Miss Jada, now this is a direct contradiction. Well, maybe she wasn't getting high at this time since it was the start of her career. You know how things start off with these celebrities. They come in green and wet behind the ears, and then once they realize the access and they start attending Hollywood parties, well, y'all know how that goes. So Jada was on her way, and she was becoming the new it girl on the block. Everyone was taking notice, and one person in particular had his eyes on Miss Jada, and that was Will Smith. Will says that he was attracted to Jada after seeing her on A Different World. He said that he knew there was something in their energy that would be magic. Will has recently shared on that Red Table Talk that he knew Jada was the one, but he was married to Cherie at that time. Now, on the show, he said him and Cherie were at a restaurant, and Will said, "I had a realization that I wasn't with the person I was supposed to be with. I was sitting in a stall and I was crying and laughing uncontrollably, and I knew Jada was the woman that I was supposed to be with, but I was never getting divorced. I went back out, sat down with Cherie, and started going back on with my life." He says it wasn't until Cherie actually ended things with him that he tried to get with Jada. He asked Jada if she was seeing anyone, and her response was no, to which Will's response was, "Cool, now you with me." From then on, Jada moved permanently from Baltimore to California, and the two began dating. Will and his wife Cherie then divorced that same year in '95. Now, let me give y'all some real tea about Miss Jada. In 1991, Jada went to California to pursue her acting, but she still had a residence in Baltimore. So in 1994, Jada purchased a property in Baltimore for $22,000, splitting the down payment with a man by the name of Chet Perjardo. Now, at the time of the purchase, Jada was 23 years old and appeared in Menace to Society already and A Low Down Dirty Shame. Now, when Jada met Chet in Baltimore, he was working at the post office. So once Jada made it big and starring in movie roles, and with Will Smith now wanting her to move to LA in '95, Jada just left the property in Baltimore behind, and she left the property with Chet. Now the property was a 1,440 square foot lot in a neighborhood ravaged by illegal drug activity. So in 2005, an indictment of 13 men who federal prosecutors say were involved in a violent drug conspiracy called the Rice Organization sought forfeiture of the men's assets. And part of that seizure was Jada's property that she owned with Chet. Apparently, the property was named in the asset seizure. So members of the Rice Organization, according to the federal indictment, are charged with murders in connection with drug trafficking conspiracies that yielded at least $27 million since 1995. Now, prosecutors allege that the group has brought at least 3,000 pounds of cocaine and heroin to the streets of Baltimore. Now, Chet faced counts in the indictment as well, and because Jada was listed as an owner of this property, she had to obtain legal counsel to represent her. Now, her attorney said that she had met Chet in Baltimore while he was working at the post office. He was just an acquaintance, and Jada had split the property, with him. She had been paying her share of the monthly mortgage payments ever since. She claimed that she had no actual contract with him. She wasn't even in contact with him for many years, and she actually had forgot that she owned the building because her accountant was the one making the monthly payments. So the property was used for what, y'all? Sound off in the comments. As of 2005, this property was only valued at $3,000. So what do you guys think they was doing in that property? And what do you think Jada's connection is? I mean, she's been rumored to be a drug dealer in the past, child. So you already know, you make it big, you leave your old life behind, but sometimes that old life catches up with you. So drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Of course, Jada was never found to be a part of any activities with drugs or any of this conspiracy with the Rice Organization, but honey, she was connected to old Chet. He was working at that post office. She knew Chet, honey. Split it down the middle. She got big, said, honey, let the accountant pay for that. But y'all, drop in the comments and let me know what you think about that tea. So Will and Jada ended up marrying in 1997, with Jada moving into the very property that Will had lived in with wife Cherie.
I didn't understand divorce. I will say that I probably should have fell back.
Jada Pinkett Smith kicked off the first episode of her Facebook Watch series, Red Table Talk, on Monday with one potentially awkward conversation.
I called back and I happened to say, quote, "You living in a house I picked out. You said, it's my house now."
That's the 46-year-old and her husband, Will Smith's first wife, Cherie Zampino.
It's the first time Cherie and I actually have sat down to talk about it. And it is so important because we talk about it. And we talk about our journey, and we've come so far. Cherie and I have been doing this for, Trey's 25. We've been doing it for 23 years. And I was like, we could help a lot of people. And just how it started and how rough it was, and just along the way.
Will and Cherie married in 1992, divorced in 1995, and share a 25-year-old son, Trey, together. The two got candid about the rough start to their relationship when Jada and Will married in 1997.
So when I think back about where I was, some of my insensitivities, some of my inconsideration, just in regards to you guys unwinding a marriage.
Yeah.
And then me trying to get in there, and
I was like, bless her little heart.
Both women got emotional when Cherie admitted it was tough when Will first introduced Trey to Jada.
So Trey comes home. I said, how did you like Miss Jada? He said, I really liked her, Mommy. Oh, my God. Thank you for loving my baby.
And Cherie praised Jada for building a relationship with her son.
On this side of things,
Right.
my son could not have a better bonus mom.
Thank you, Ray.
No, thank you. He couldn't.
And he's got a great mother.
Thank you. Aww.
But apparently, things were not even what they seemed in Will and Jada's relationship or marriage. Down there to that red table talk again, Jada has recently revealed that she never wanted to get married. I was under so much pressure, being a young actress, being young, and I was just like pregnant and I just didn't know what to do. I never wanted to be married.
I really didn't want to get married, but
We only got married because Gammy was crying.
I was under so much pressure, being a young actress, being young, and I was just like pregnant. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do. But I just knew, I was like, I never wanted to be married.
Wedding was horrible.
It was a horrible wedding.
It was a mess. Jada was sick. She was very unpleasant. Wouldn't cope. I she was sick. She didn't cooperate with
You were 6 months pregnant at the wedding.
No, I was
How many?
3 months.
A day in my life that I wanted anything other than being married and having a family.
Wow.
From
Well, thank the good Lord.
literally 5 years old, I was picturing what my family would be.
Wow.
It was almost as if Gammy was like, you have to get married. So let's talk about the wedding. I was like, I never wanted to be married.
I don't remember that. I remember feeling very strongly and wanting you guys to be married. I do remember that.
Yes.
But I don't remember your rejection of the idea of marriage. I remember the rejection of the idea of a wedding.
I didn't want a wedding either.
She didn't want it,
I was like, I don't want to get married. And now Gammy done gone to Will crying about, I don't want to have a wedding. And now I'm being forced to have a wedding. When really, I just wanted it to be the two of us on a mountain, because I was like, this is serious business.
Well, then how did the two of them end up married in the first place? Am I the only one that is wondering that? Could it have been the fact that Will was pee-whipped? That's right, you heard me. Now, in an interview with Oprah Winfrey, recalling the early days of him and Jada's relationship, Oprah is reading from Will's memoir, and it says, "We drank every day and had sex multiple times every day for 4 straight months. I started to wonder if this was a competition. Either way, as far as I was concerned, there were only 2 possibilities. Number 1, I was going to satisfy this woman sexually, or number 2, I was going to die trying." Oprah then turns to Will and says, "Well, since you're not dead, we assume you won the competition." And Will laughs and replies, "Well, it ended up being a lot more complicated than that, Oprah." Now, those early days were spectacular. Me and Jada to this day, if we start talking about it, is for hours. Will described their long conversations as the center of their relationship, and it is why they have been able to remain together to this day, not choking the life out of each other. He said, "It's like the ability to work through issues. I've just never met another person that I connect with in conversation more blissfully and productively than Jada." Well, honey, down to that red table talk, little Miss Jada had a different view on things, saying, "It's hard." She told guest Gwyneth Paltrow, "The thing Will and I talk about a lot is the journey. We started in this at a very young age, 22 years old. That's why the accountability part really hit for me, because I think you expect your partner to know what you need, especially when it comes to sex. It's like, well, if you love me, you should know. If you love me, you should read my mind. That's a huge pitfall." And then Gwyneth, she replies back. She says, "Isn't it weird though? It's like someone doesn't read your mind and we feel crushed." Child, that was like the magic word. Jada, crushed, she replied. You tell me what you need, tell me what you want, and on top of it, I know that I have to be accountable to do the same. I really try. It's uncomfortable, but it's deeply healthy. And I think around sex because it's something that we don't talk about a lot. And there's so much fantasy around it, she adds.
I know. I'm sure. I mean, the thing that Will and I talk about a lot is the journey. I mean, we started in this at a very young age, 22 years old. It's crazy. That's why the accountability part really hit for me because I think you expect your partner to know, especially when it comes to sex. Right. It's like, well, if you love me, you should know. Right. You know what I mean? If you love me,
you should be able to read
you
my
should
mind.
Read my mind.
Yeah.
You know what
that's
I mean?
a huge pitfall.
That's a huge pitfall.
Yeah. Read your mind, and we feel crushed. Like, we feel so disappointed.
Now, does anyone else get the impression around here that the two of them are living in the same marriage, but they are having a different experience? It just seems like Will, he wanted it more than Jada. Jada just didn't want the marriage. It seems that Jada wanted this open, free marriage and relationship, and Will was more conventional. For example, in an interview that Will did with GQ magazine, he said, Jada never believed in a conventional marriage. Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. So she grew up in a way that was very different than how I grew up. There were significant, endless discussions about what is relational perfection? What is the perfect way to interact as a couple? And for the large part of our relationship, monogamy was what we chose, not thinking of monogamy as the only relational perfection. We have given each other trust and freedom with the belief that everybody has to find their own way. And marriage for us can't be a prison. And I don't suggest our road for anybody. I don't suggest this road for anybody. But the experiences and the freedoms that we've given one another and the unconditional support, to me, is the highest definition of love. Woo, child, that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And we know how all that thinking, where that has gotten Will. Recently, in 2022, at the Oscars, he slapped the out of Chris Rock. Well, it seems that Will may have wanted to put the pause on Tommy Davidson back in the day. Tommy Davidson has claimed that he almost fought with Will over Jada on the set of Woo. In Tommy's new memoir, In Living Color, Tommy recalls telling Jada that he was dissatisfied with the film's original ending and suggested that he and Jada's characters dance in the final scene. Tommy said Jada and the producers agreed that this was a better ending. Tommy had also discussed with a producer the idea of kissing Jada, but he never ran that by Jada. Tommy said, I didn't know this. You have to rehearse a kiss. You can't just spring it on your co-star. And I didn't think that it was all of that of a big deal. When Tommy leaned in for a kiss during the filming, he immediately felt Jada recoil. Tommy claimed Will, who was engaged to Jada at the time, came to his trailer and said to him, I didn't appreciate that. Will went all gangsta on me, Tommy said, saying what I did was not cool. There was a moment there when we might have come to blows. My reactive fight or flight instinct was triggered and I could have exploded. Tommy explained that Jada then arrived and diffused the situation. Now, we know that back then, Tommy was not the only person that Will was jealous of, because apparently Will was insanely jealous of Tupac Shakur. In Will's memoir, he has now admitted that he felt threatened by Jada's past relationship with Pac and that his mind was tortured by their connection. Will says, though they were never intimate, their love for each other is legendary. They defined ride or die. In the beginning of our relationship, my mind was tortured by their connection. He was Pac and I was me. Pac was like Harry Smith's younger brother. He triggered the perception of myself as a coward. I hated that I wasn't what he was in the world, and I suffered a raging jealousy. I wanted Jada to look at me like that. Will went on to say that he felt a twisted kind of victory when Jada spent more time with him than Tupac. He says, if she chose me over Tupac, there was no way I could be a coward. I have really felt more validated. I was in a room with Tupac on multiple occasions, but I never spoke to him. The way Jada loved Pac rendered me incapable of being friends with him. I was too immature. Will also touched upon how Tupac had a fearless passion that was intoxicating, a militant morality, and a willingness to fight and die for what he believed was right. Now, also on a Breakfast Club interview, Will said, "Me and Tupac had a little bit of a thing because Tupac and Jada grew up together and they loved each other, but they never had a sexual relationship. But they had come into that age where now that was possible. And then now Jada was with me." He added, "Pac had a little thing on that, but she just loved him. Like he was the image of perfection, but she was with the Fresh Prince." Now, it could just be me, but I'm thinking, Will's desire to want Jada to look at him like she looked at Tupac could have also added to one of the reasons why he went up there and wanted to prove to Jada that he was man, slapping the out of Chris Rock, wanting her to look at him like she looked at Pac. I'm just saying. Now, one thing Miss Jada is not going to do, and that is allow anyone to get her and Tupac's relationship misconstrued. When his biopic, All Eyes on Me, was produced, Jada was not feeling the production of the movie and had some choice words.
People not go see it. It was just, I wanted people to know what you're seeing in regards to my relationship with Tupac is not true. And that was important to me because my relationship was really special. And it was very complicated. And I just felt like it was a huge disservice. And that really through my relationship with Pac would have shown people what he truly was. Because it's one thing to see Pac's persona publicly and who he was personally. And, what made it even more painful is those guys know me. Those cold black dudes know me. We've done business together. We did Free Angela together. So I know that they knew how to reach for me. And that's not to say that I would have participated in it either. But it was just across the board. I thought it was just handled in a very disrespectful way. And I felt like it was exploitive of me and Pac, how they used our relationship to sell a movie. And I just felt like it was tomb raiding in regards to Pac. You know what I'm saying? And if you really saying you're honoring a man's legacy, then honor his legacy. And if you don't have the story, fall back until you do. And I feel like we as black people, we have got to protect those individuals that we say are important to us, to our history, and to our culture. We cannot expect other people to do that if we're not willing to do that ourselves. Pac is precious to us, and so, it was really hard, and it was really hard to just be with it in the way that I had to. And, but it's all good, but I do believe that when we're doing biopics about people, that are a part of our community and who are special to us, we have to treasure and we have to really tell those stories in a special way. And it can't be about money.
Jada gave birth to their first child, Jaden Smith, in 1998, then followed up with Willow in 2000. Being a mother while trying to maintain a career was tough, Jada said, and she said that she felt like she gave up her career. Now, some of you might think that Jada was talking only about her acting career when she said this. Oh, no, ma'am. Jada was also referring to giving up her music career. That's right, child. Did y'all know that Jada was a musician? She played in a rock band. She told the Red Book magazine, "I had to make choices. Believe me, I would still be on the road with my band Wicked Wisdom, and making as many movies as I can a year and doing all sorts of other things if I didn't have the responsibility of a family. Now, this was back when the kids were about 10, 11 years old. She says, but I have children with their own talents and dreams, and I know I have to be standing next to them for that journey. It was excruciating, completely excruciating when Jaden was auditioning for The Pursuit of Happiness. My band had just gotten an offer to open for Guns N' Roses in Europe, and for me that was unbelievable. But the choice was, I could be a rock star or I could be on the set with my son to make sure he was healthy and happy. Now, we all know how that story ended, she said. Now, Jada also admitted that she would prefer to raise her children in Hollywood rather than in the streets of Baltimore or Philly. She said, let me tell you what I feared the most. Them growing up like me, growing up like I did, in a house with drugs, in a war zone where if I walked out my door, I could be shot. Hollywood ain't nothing compared to that. Growing up in the streets of Baltimore or the streets of Philly, where Will and I grew up, I'd rather have my kids here. It still makes me nervous that they're part of something that isn't totally real, but it's up to Will and me to teach them what's real and what's not. Now, I definitely feel Jada on that, but although Jada felt the security of raising her kids in Hollywood, well, she didn't feel too safe because she actually prevented her son Jaden from attending sleepovers when he was little, fearing that he would be violated. Now, down to that red table talk again, Jada said that as a child, Jaden was not allowed to sleep over at his friends' houses. Speaking to her daughter Willow, who claimed that her parents were protective of her, Jada added that she was just as protective of Jaden as a young boy and actually let Willow do things in their house that she never allowed Jaden to do. Do you know how many men I know that have been raped as young boys? Jada said, I was as protective of Jaden as I was of you. He was not allowed to spend the night at anyone's house because I never underestimated that a boy child could be violated in the same way as a girl child.
Men don't experience the same thing.
Yes, they
That's
do.
the problem.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
You know how many men I know that have been raped as young boys?
Damn.
That I was as protective of Jaden as I was of you.
Absolutely.
He was not listen to me. He was not allowed to spend the night at anyone's house because I never underestimated that a boy child could be violated in the same way as a girl child.
But you did do a lot of things differently.
I did do a lot of things differently. And let me tell you something else. You got to do a lot of things in this house.
You're right.
That Jaden did not.
You're right.
Okay?
You're so right.
Now, have any of you ever treated your boy child any differently than your girl child? Sound off below. Well, looky here. It appears that Will has not been the only one to be a little jelly. Now, according to Jada, she felt a little hostile toward other women during the early years of her and Will's romance. Y'all know she was down to that red table talk talking again, and she says she felt insecure when Will's fans and co-stars seemed to step over a boundary. Jada was asked if she gets jealous over other women who are flirty towards Will, and she said, you know what, I really didn't. There was only 1 or 2 times where I might have gotten a little hostile, where I felt like people, they stepped over a boundary and they were disrespectful. I know who I am, and more importantly, he knows who I am, right? Jada said that it was actually Willow, their daughter, who was more protective over her father when she was a young child, saying, I remember when Willow was like 5 or 6 and one of his co-stars was in his trailer. She jumped in her father's lap and looked at the co-star and said, my mother's going to be here very soon. And I remember Will telling me about the story. I cracked up. Child, little girls are definitely like that about their daddies. They do not play. My. This red table talk. Now, we know the infamous red table talk. We've been doing a lot of discussing that Jada be down there to that red table talk. Her and her family, they be down there telling all their business. But have you guys ever wondered where did the Red Table Talk come from? Where did it get its origins from? Well, we got that tea right here. So remember I was telling you about Laverne Witt. She's the woman that Jada moved to Los Angeles with and got her start. She introduced Jada to Keenan Ivory Wayans. Well, Laverne posted back in 2018 at the start of the Red Table Talk. She posted this to her Instagram stating, I gave Jada Pinkett Smith a book in 2004 called The Red Tent, which is based on a young girl who learns about life through the stories of her mother, aunts, grandmother, and other women from their village during their monthly menstrual cycle or while giving birth. Women would literally squat in a position to allow the flow to hit the ground for 3 days or more until the cycle was complete, all while listening, learning, and discussing opinions in this tent. Such a powerful book, The Red Tent, and now Jada, her mother Adrian, and Willow will bring that unity among generations of women. So she is saying that the Red Table Talk is just like the Red Tent book. I gave Jada this book, she got this idea, so I started the Red Table Talk. Okay, me. I'm posting this to my Instagrams. I want y'all to know Jada ain't come up with this idea by herself. Now, did Jada point to this? Did she let everybody know that Laverne is to thank for the Red Table Talk? If she had never gave Jada that book in 2004 called The Red Tent, we wouldn't be here today listening at them down there to that Red Table Talk. Now, did y'all know that Will and Jada actually operated a school? That's right, they operated a school, but they have denied that it was a Scientology school. The parents that had their children down there and teachers that have taught at this school stated that it was pure Scientology. However, Will and Jada denied it. They said they just was teaching down there. It ain't nothing to do with Scientology. Now, initially, Will and Jada used one of their own residences as the base for the school, but in 2008, they actually opened up a building in Calabasas, California, and a lady by the name of Jacqueline Oliver, who co-founded and oversaw the academy for a year, told media that while she was not specifically instructed to teach Scientology, many of the teachers that the Smiths had working at the school were followers of Scientology. Oliver said that she was asked to take study technology courses, which are based on the teaching and the methods developed by Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. She said they never mentioned Scientology, but I remember that they sent me the L. Ron Hubbard books, and I didn't put it together. It just seemed like a great opportunity. She also claimed that she and other teachers at the New Village Leadership Academy, now that's what the school was called, the New Village Leadership Academy. These teachers were required to take classes at Hollywood Scientology Celebrity Center. So you guys know that that is the Scientology building in Hollywood. They have a building called the Celebrity Center. So the teachers were required to take courses at this center. So they are denying that it is a Scientology school, but you're sending people down to the Scientology building. Now, as for the teachers at the Smith School, Oliver said that various Scientology practices were a part of the curriculum. Among them, she alleged that the teachers were using the tone scale, which is a method of analyzing people's emotions, and debugging, in which a person's barriers are broken down. She said there were pictures of L. Ron Hubbard on the walls, and in the study technology book, there was a picture of Hubbard and a whole mini biography of his life. And that was the first thing that the kids had to learn before anything. I mean, it was total Scientology. There's no question, she said. Now, they had terms and labels that are ascribed to Scientology that they also used on a regular basis at the school. They was labeling people as suppressive persons, which is deemed by Scientologists as a person who intends to suppress or squash any betterment activity or group. So a guest lecturer that was at the school from 2008 to 2010 said that he often heard teachers using words and phrases related to Scientology while teaching the students. He says there were teachers there who were constantly talking about building materials into the curriculum that were related to Scientology. There were teachers there that I met and I couldn't even understand what they were saying. There was a geography teacher there, and I'm pretty well versed in geography, but they were saying this vague stuff. There seemed to be an agenda. I mean, I'd sit in on the classes and listen to these teachers, and they were using weird words that I did not even know. Now, it's reported that there were a few parents who really got vocal, and they were like, this is Scientology, and they pulled their children from the school. But Will and Jada just did not understand that nobody wanted to teach their kids Scientology, and nobody wanted their kids to attend this school, Oliver said, especially when they were not admitting that that's what it was all about. Now, back when the school was up and running before it closed in 2013, Jada denied these claims. She denied that the New Village Leadership Academy was an educational center built on the fundamentals of Scientology. She said, all I can say that it is not Scientology. It's not a Scientology school. Now, if you don't trust me and you are questioning my integrity, that's a whole different matter. That is straight evil to think that I would bring families into that educational institution and then try to get them to convert into some religion. I have prayed in mosques all over the world, but I am not a Muslim, Jada wrote on her Twitter at the time. She added, I have read the Bhagavad Gita. Child, I don't know how to say that. She said, I have read the Bhagavad Gita, but I'm not a Hindu. I have chanted and meditated in some of the most magnificent temples on earth, but I'm not a Buddhist. I've studied Dianetics and appreciate the merits of study tech, but I am not a Scientologist. I practice human kindness, and I believe that we each have the right to determine what we are and what we are not. Now, I have a right to say this. I don't believe that it is appropriate for you to be teaching any religion or any type of subject that is related to religion to children without the consent of their parents. So absolutely, if I was those parents, I would have pulled my kids out of it too, especially if it was based on Scientology. What are your thoughts? Now, Jada was down there trying to teach other people kids, but it seems that back when Willow was 13 years old, CPS showed up to Jada's home to investigate whether or not Willow was being starved. On an episode of the What? Red Table Talk, Jada recalled the incident. According to Jada, Willow was 13 at the time, and y'all remember she was photographed clothed while laying in bed next to shirtless family friend Moses Arias, who was 20 at the time. Now, while Jada claimed that the photo was innocent, CPS intervened after the agency received a complaint accusing the Smiths of starving Willow. Jada said on the Red Table Talk, that was the first time I got furious. Willow also voiced her own frustration over the incident, saying, I was looking at that lady the whole time and I was thinking, you could be helping so many kids right now and you're wasting your time with a child who has everything they need. Willow added that she was even eating a bowl of cereal during the CPS interview and messed with the social worker by informing the lady that it was her first time that she was eating that day. She said, I walked in with a bowl of cereal specifically because I knew that they said you were starving me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk in with food and eat the entire time. I'm going to eat throughout the entire interview. Now, according to Jada, Willow and Jaden exhibited passive behavior throughout the investigation. Jada says it was like their personal protest. The way they were conducting these interviews was literally like, what are you doing here? Now, Jada added that she and Will felt helpless during the investigation. She says, there was nothing Will and I could do. We were just like, please chill out. And they were like, no, this is stupid and it's ridiculous. Now, in hindsight, Jada said that it bonded the family. Over the infuriating encounter, they bonded. She said, we really locked up together as a family. We're getting attacked. So the kids got to see for the first time why Will and I had been so protective. So if this brought the family together, then why was Willow writing a letter back then to Tupac asking for him to come back and make her mom happy? Now recently there has been a letter that has resurfaced after the spotlight was shed on Will and Jada's marriage since this Oscar slap. Now the letter, which is supposedly written by Willow, states that she knows Tupac is alive someplace and she asked him to come back so mommy and me can be happy. So how did this letter come to light? People are asking. Well, the letter came to light after internet personality Kevin Samuels highlighted it. It was then shared on TikTok and it's been viewed over 2.6 million times. The letter has sparked debate and many question if it is real. The letter was supposedly added to Instagram in 2012, and that means that Willow would have been 11 years old at that time. She reportedly added a picture of the letter to her Instagram in August of 2012, saying that she wrote it years ago, but the post has since been deleted. In the full letter, she writes, "Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think that my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you please come back so mommy and me can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Love, Willow." Now, Jada says that she was inseparable from Tupac from the day they met as teenagers, though she's always insisted that they were just good friends and they never dated. During a 2018 episode of the Red Table Talk, she called his death a huge loss in her life. During that same episode, Jada calls him an icon. And then Willow jumps in and says, in the minds of the generation that came next, he is a god. Now, how are you guys feeling about this letter? Many question if it's real, if it was really written by Willow, and some are shocked that Willow would even know anything about her mother's relationship with Tupac at such a young age. What are your thoughts? Now, I found a clip of Miss Jada talking about Tupac back in the day. She was very emotional. She's talking about what he meant to her. Now, why are you still emotional all these years later? If this was just a friendship, I need to know why you are belittling your husband about this man. Your children know about the relationship with this man, and all it was a friendship. You guys grew up together. You went through hard times together. I get it. But to still be crying even now and to still be talking about this man, I need to know what it was really giving Miss Jada.
Met at Baltimore School of the Arts. It was the first day, and he came over to me and introduced himself. And in high school, Pac was a little funny looking. Definitely, from looking at him, wasn't necessarily like the type of cat that I would even like deal with, you know. But as soon as he approached me, he was like a magnet. It was like once you paid attention to him, he kind of sucked you in. And we hit it off from that moment on. He would tell me all the time, "Jada, you're going to be a star." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Pac, come on." He's like, "You're going to be a star. You got it. You just got it." I don't think either one of us really thought that we would have made it in the way that we did. But we knew we were going to do something. He was one of my best friends. He was like a brother. And sorry. He was I mean, it was beyond friendship for us, you know, as far as just, it was really difficult to explain because the type of relationship we had, you only get that once in a lifetime, so he was like a brother, father figure to me. Very protective, and we took really good care of each other. We took really good care of each other, the best that we could. But we gave each other a lot.
So who has Jada dated prior to being married to Will? Well, Jada and Grant Hill, who was a Duke basketball star at the time, dated in the 90s. Jada was on the TV show A Different World at the time, and Jada even says that she brought Grant Hill home for the holidays.
From Buffalo for the group, who was your first boyfriend you brought home for the holidays? Grant Hill. He was the first boyfriend I brought home for the holidays.
Wow.
Yep. Who is happily married to Tamia.
Yes, he certainly is. And
Happy
has a beautiful little
holidays.
family.
Yes, happy holidays to that beautiful couple. You know who your first boyfriend was.
I don't like those terms.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Jada also dated Wesley Snipes. The two reportedly dated in the 90s, but never officially confirmed having a relationship. They dated around town, went to little couple functions together, but they never really said that they were a couple. Now, back in 2011, it was all over the tabloids, alleging that Will caught Jada and her Hawthorne co-star Mark Anthony together in one of their homes in Los Angeles. The headlines read, "Two marriages destroyed. Jada steals J-Lo's husband." Now, the In Touch magazine was the tabloid that was responsible for this. Supposedly made a surprise visit to the house in early August under the cover of darkness and found his wife with Mark. The magazine did not elaborate on what exactly Will may have witnessed, saying that an insider said Will didn't indicate exactly what he saw. But the In Touch magazine claimed that Jada moved out of the house the very next day, while Will fired several of the staff members, accusing them of covering things up. Now, a source revealed there was simmering sexual tension between Jada and Mark on the set of their TNT Hawthorne. Now, when Mark Anthony began playing Jada's on-screen lover, workers on set said they could not help but notice that the chemistry the two of them had. A source said on set, everyone noticed the insane chemistry between them. The co-stars also had playful exchanges on Twitter, saying how much fun they were having working together. But it was when Mark split from J-Lo a month prior to these rumors that alarm bells supposedly went ringing for Will Smith, according to the In Touch magazine. Now, an insider said that Will had been in New York filming Men in Black 3 and said that he couldn't ignore the timing of the split from J-Lo. It was just too coincidental, but the couple denied the story, saying that this stuff was not true. Although we are reluctant to respond to these types of press reports, the rumors circulating about our relationship are completely false. We are still together and our marriage is intact. Now, Will's statement came several hours after Jada had denied having an affair with Mark. Jada released a statement through her spokesperson, and it read, "All the rumors regarding Mark Anthony and Jada are false, completely untrue." Now, as for the reports of the split between Will and Jada, I'm not commenting on their personal life, the spokesperson went on to say. Now, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that Jada was messing around and fool-la-la with Mark Anthony, and that is the reason for the split from J-Lo? I don't know, y'all. Sound like a scandal to me. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Now, of course, Jada was sitting at that red table again, sitting with her mom this time and her sister-in-law, Ashley Marie, and coincidentally, August Alsina. Jada said that she had a sex addiction in the past, among other addictions. Now, according to Jada, addiction runs in her family, and she struggled with her own challenges throughout the years, namely being dependent on sex and alcohol. She said, "Alcoholism and drug addiction runs in my family, and I've had my own addiction that I've had to get over. It's just made me realize that
My
really
sort of
great
addictions
people
jump.
just get caught up."
They jump around. When I was young, I definitely think I had a sex addiction of some kind.
Yes, that everything could be fixed by sex.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or
It's the
thing.
behavior.
It's the behavior that's attached to it. Because if you want to have a lot of sex, that's great. But why are you having all that sex? That's what you got to look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sex wasn't the only obstacle she's faced.
I became a gym addict. I was just in the gym constantly. And then I remember reaching a rock bottom. That time I was in the house by myself, and I had those 2 bottles of wine and was going for the 3rd bottle, and it was like, now hold up. You in this house by yourself going on to your 3rd
That's gangster.
bottle of wine. You
What's
might
going
have
on?
a problem.
Jada says she was able to combat the issues herself.
I went cold turkey. That's the thing about me. I can go cold turkey.
Yeah.
I am a binger, and I always have to watch myself and just how I can get just obsessed with things. And
She has also shared
it's not
that
what
she's
you're doing,
had
but how
a
you with
porn
it.
addiction in
Why
the
you
past.
doing it?
I was still on my porn game. I'd be able to show you some good porn, because back in the day, I had a little porn addiction.
Jada Pinkett Smith getting candid about her past struggle with porn.
I actually feel like I was using maybe addiction a little lightly, and maybe I will say now that I had an unhealthy relationship to porn at one point in my life where I was trying to practice abstinence.
The confession went down on the latest episode of her Facebook watch show, Red Table Talk. Jada explained to her co-hosts, who also happened to be her mom Adrienne and her daughter Willow, that she was single when she turned to pornography.
I wasn't in a relationship when I had a porn addiction, believe it or not. Thank goodness.
I gotta give it to Jada. She's being so open and honest, and I actually think it's pretty great to see this kind of authenticity nowadays. But when Willow asked her what prompted her addiction, she explained that it came from an emotional place.
It was actually like feeling like an emptiness. At least you think it is.
Exactly.
But it's actually not.
The women also discussed the stigma around porn and how it can affect a person's life.
Actually reading like some of the effects of pornography, like the idea that it really gives you false expectations as far as sexual interaction.
Yeah.
I can definitely see with
I can
men,
see that. Oh,
you
yeah.
know, how a woman should always be willing and ready. There's never a no, you know, so I can definitely see how that could create a unrealistic expectation.
Girl, what? Just stop. Listen. Your grandmama was down there teaching you how to pleasure yourself at 9 years old, and you got addicted to sex because of that, honey. You cannot start something as a child and not expect it to develop into a habit. So the early practice of self-masturbation is why I believe it led to these sex addictions. Now, it is not August Alsina that is the only young boy that has had an entanglement with Jada. It seems as though Daz Dillinger had an interview, and he said that Chris Kelly from Criss Cross was entangling with Jada Pinkett.
That was our homies right there. You know what I'm saying? We kicked it with them all the motherfucking time.
Wow.
That was the first dude I seen. You think Jada Pinkett was entangling? She was entangling with Chris Kelly from motherfucking Criss Cross, because Criss Cross was in the room and he was like, Jada Pinkett is at the door, but don't leave. Take this weed. Chill. We like, damn, that motherfucker gave us an ounce of weed. We're going to kick it right here. Then he came back in. He said, yeah, that was Jada Pinkett. I'm like, damn, this nigga fucking Jada Pinkett at a young age.
Wow, Chris Kelly was that?
1993, around that way.
Wow.
You know, yes, she was entangling me. Shout out to Jada.
The entanglement. All right, y'all, buckle up. Now, June 28, 2015 through July 5th, 2015, Jada attends the Wireless Festival in London to support Jaden and Willow, who are both performing. There she meets 22-year-old August Alsina for the first time. The entanglement begins. August 3rd, 2015, Will addresses rumors that he and Jada are headed toward divorce in a Facebook post where he refers to Jada as his queen. Jada takes to Twitter and simply says, "My king has spoken." June 25th, 2017, Jada and August attend the BET Awards together. They seem cozy. Queen Latifah clearly knows that something is going on because she in the background like, Now on July 21st, 2017, while promoting her upcoming film, Girls Trip, Jada goes on Watch What Happens Live and says that the craziest rumor she's ever heard about her and Will is that they're swingers. She says, "That's the craziest one. It's constant." And I'm like, yo, I wish. Now, December 21st, 2017, Will posts a long, emotional Instagram for his 20th wedding anniversary with Jada. "Love is like gardening. I have learned to focus on helping you to blossom into what you want to be, not into what I want you to be." July 11th, 2018, August Alsina takes a seat at the red table next to Jada to discuss his issues with alcohol, sex, and drug addiction. Jada introduces him as a dear family friend. April 10th, 2019, August Alsina drops a music video for his remix to Kehlani's Nunya. In the video, his emoji is texting someone named Corinne, which is Jada's middle name. He also uses a gif of Jada in the video right after singing the lyric, "You got me feeling like it was an act. You just an actress putting on a show because you don't want the world to know that you lost a man who loved you all along. Baby, couldn't we just let this go?" At the time, Alsina denied claims that the video was about Jada. Child, who he fooling? We know who that was about. Now, June 30th, 2020, the entanglement begins to unravel. While promoting his upcoming album, The Product 3, State of Emergency, August Alsina sits down with the Breakfast Club's Angela Yee and claims that he gave years of his life to Jada in a romantic relationship with Will's blessing. Later that day, reps for Jada calls August's claims absolutely not true. July 2nd, 2020, Jada goes on to Twitter and announces the obvious. "There's some healing that needs to happen, so I'm bringing myself to the red table." Child, the internet goes wild. July 10th, 2020, the now infamous red table talk occurs. Jada confirms that she had a relationship with August, but denies that Will ever gave his blessing, claiming the two were separated at the time. Will sits glaring at her, and he becomes a meme. The world Googles what the word entanglement means. Now at 7:16 p.m. on July 10th of 2020, somehow Keke Palmer gets wrapped up in this mess, and after tweeting about watching the Red Table Talk, a fan says, "This you and her," and posted a photo of Keke and August. "Yes, girl," Keke tweets in response. "August was never my man, LOL. That's why you're still reaching to this day to figure out nothing." Now, August, most likely in his feelings, took to Twitter to confirm that he was never, in fact, in a relationship with Keke. He was never her man. Now, things getting messy at this point. Now, on 7/10 at 7:48 p.m., August Alsina, still in his feelings, continues to post about the entanglement on Twitter. If you have something to say, say it with your chest, kids. It's always very perplexing because I real deal be showing people genuine love. Whole time that envy eating your little heart. Anyway, next. Yeah, his feelings is hurt. On Saturday, July 11th, 50 Cent, doing what 50 do, trolling. He posts a screenshot of a DM conversation that he allegedly had with Will Smith about the talk around the red table. In the DMs, Will says to 50, "We broke up, so she did her and I did me." Now 50 seems to follow that up with genuine concern for Will. But then he jokes about August and Jada's entanglement, and Will did not appreciate it and says, "F you 50. Now on Monday, July 13th, somehow Keke Palmer, she gets the last laugh and she says, "And that's on what? Entanglement." Now Saturday, July 18th, August Alsina released Entanglements, a song with Rick Ross that gets to the core of his heartbreak over Jada. Several lyrics seem to reference her, including, "That ain't my girl, but I got they key to the crib and to the car." And then he says, "You left your man just to F with me and break his heart." His lyrics also define entanglement in very clear terms. The definition of entanglement is when you're tangled in the sheets. Child. Now on April 6, 2022, y'all know that August could not keep Jada's name out his mouth, especially since Will had done went up there and slapped the out of Chris Rock at the Oscars. So he released the song called Shake the World, which appeared to reference their entanglement. The song seemed to pull directly from Nicki Minaj and Beyonce's Feeling Myself, where Beyonce addresses the elevator incident with Jay-Z and Solange. I heard it's some shit that's bound to go down when you got $1 billion on the elevator. Well, of course some shit was bound to go down when you tangled up with the world's favorite. Now on Thursday, April 7th, 2022, shortly after The Sun put a story out that Alsina was nearing a book deal about his time with Jada, August goes on Instagram to slap that rumor down. Y'all get that? Slap the rumor down. Now, Alsina posted a screenshot of a text he seems to have sent to someone in his phone named Stupid People, Stupid Rumors. And it says, "They've written several fantasies, hypotheticals, and fictions based about me on Wattpad." Alsina writes, implying that he's aware of RPF fit of him and Jada on Wattpad. What a time to be alive. If you're looking for that kind of entertainment, go read those. Read the book called The Holy Bible while you're at it too. Child, now that's a whole lot of. But honey, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Well, we have reached the end of this video, and I want to give my final thoughts about Jada. Jada is a well-rounded individual. You can tell that she has had access to the finer things in life. You know, she's gotten into Hollywood. She's made a career for herself, and she's raised a family. But Jada has, really lately, she has embarrassed her family. The Red Table Talk, while it was meant to, have thought-provoking conversations, and it was, meant for people to come and discuss and heal, Jada and her mother, they are not medical professionals as far as psychologists, or, they don't have any mental health background. So I fear that a lot of damage is being done at the Red Table because they don't have any professional psychologists that kind of come in and patch things up, when they have done all of this unpacking and talking and revealing, and that's deep. Like, they do a lot of deep things on that show. So I would only hope that going forward that they have some mental health professionals there when they are unpacking and they're unraveling and they're getting in touch with their feelings, because they could be doing more harm than good. It appears that Will was embarrassed when they did the whole entanglement talk. A lot of things that have been recently revealed on the Red Table, I feel, attributed to him having the display that he had at the Oscars. I think it was a lot of pent-up aggression, pent-up, aggravation and frustration with Jada. It is apparent that Jada never wanted to be in a conventional marriage. She never really wanted to be married to Will Smith. I think it was, in my opinion, opportunity knocked and she answered. Her mom wanted her to be married. She didn't want to be married. Her mom saw the opportunity as well. So, there are a lot of opinions surrounding Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. So you guys drop in the comments and let me know. I'm interested to hear from you. But that's it. That's all I got. That's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video just as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Be sure to like this video, share this video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.